see, Punisher is what it's like to be a veteran in the US, yeah? Luke Cage is what it's like to be black in the US, yeah? Jessica Jones is what it's like to be a woman recovering from trauma.
Yeah.
Daredevil's what it's like to have a disability and work through it. And Iron Fist is about being a sad white rich man whose life is hard.
It's so perfect.
Yes, lessons. Yes. I stole that from Tumblr. And it won't be the last thing I steal from Tumblr today.
Okay.
Because I'm about to fill our listeners' ears with useless crap.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Welcome to Big Damn Cast. I am Big Damn Christ, aka the one whose elbows may or may not be an optical illusion.
I am Big Damn Matt, the one whose knees are made of cheese.
And they're aimed to please.
They do. And boy, do they please. We have got one big topic and a couple of little things to talk about this week. We are, of course, delving deep into the latest release in the DCEU. That is the Justice League movie. The long-awaited, much-debated Justice League. But before we descend into that pit of madness and vipers and other things that we'll talk about later, we are going to talk briefly about the new Punisher Netflix series. Briefly, because we've not, but both of us haven't had time to finish it yet. And we are also going to talk, even probably more briefly, about the biggest news story this week in the nerd sphere, which is that there's been another shockingly large and unexpected changing of the guard over at Marvel Comics.
Indeed, do. In a way where it makes you wonder, are people jumping from the ship before an iceberg hits? Or who knows?
You know, I wouldn't think so, because they seem to be doing pretty well over there, especially after the Disney takeover. But Axel Alonso, after 6 years in the role, has stepped down as editor-in-chief only for C.B. Cebulski, who's been a well-regarded editor at Marvel for years and years and years, and one of their main talent scouts, really. He has stepped up to the role of editor-in-chief. So that's new and different, and with Bendis jumping ship across to DC, that's things are changing over at the House of Ideas.
Yeah, quite a few shifts here, especially in terms of positions of great responsibility. Because Bendis obviously being across so many books as writer and sole writer of like so many works, and Alonso, being the J. Jonah Jameson of this bitch.
Yeah,
like it seems very odd, and also put it this way. It was very sudden to readers to find out, but let's just hope that obviously Marvel have known about both of these departures for a long while and have plans in place.
Well, I would imagine so, because the announcement of Alonso stepping down also included C.B. Cebulski moving up to editor-in-chief.
Okay.
So they'd already... That happened simultaneously.
It's not like he just went... I just fancy a change. Bye, everyone. Grabbed his coat and just left the building. They're all like, wait, well, what?
It might have been that, but, at least they got ahead of it.
Maybe Cebulski was in like a glass case next to the editor-in-chief's desk and they just broke him out for the occasion.
Probably. Well, he spent most of the last couple of years in China trying to like make Marvel Comics a thing in China. Because that's been one of his responsibilities at the company is moving the business into new markets and making it more international, and so he's very much an ambassador for the brand. So it's an interesting pick, and by all accounts, there's been a lot of reaction to it from people in the industry. It's a good pick, and a well loved man in the industry is C.B. Cebulski. On the Brian Michael Bendis front, he has also recently said that he has chosen his replacement for the Jessica Jones ongoing book. But he's not ready to reveal who she is.
But all at the same time making a bit of an announcement there, all the same.
A female writer is taking over Jessica Jones.
That's pretty cool, and again, not just sort of for reasons of, diversifying the industry, but also a book with a female lead. A female writer probably is going to be able to bring a dimension to that Bendis even himself wouldn't have brought.
Of the female
So-
writers that I know
Aye.
of, if it's a known writer, my mind immediately jumps to Kelly Sue DeConnick, but we shall see.
Oh, she would be quite good, actually. She's very good.
Hmm.
And could deal with sort of like that, more gritty sort of street level stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
So that should be.
Okay.
I mean, but we'll find out soon enough. I think his last books. I'm not sure if his last books come out in December or if he's writing up until December.
Yeah.
But either way, we're coming to the end of his Marvel reign.
The reign of Bendis.
So changes are in the air over at Marvel, and with their recent announcement of of a new Marvel show on the new Disney Channel, it was also stated that the Netflix shows are staying where they are for now.
Okie dokie. Ah, yes, of course, because there was a bit of a
Yeah.
skewiffle, wasn't there, about where everything was going to be.
And the latest one of those has just dropped
It has indeed.
this weekend.
Now,
Gone. The Punisher
beware,
is here.
ladies and gentlemen, as we delve into Frank Castle's Sculled Vest for minor spoilers.
Yeah, I
very
think
minor spoilers.
You've only seen the first 4. I've only seen the first 6, so there's not a great deal to spoil.
Yeah, and we'll probably go a lot more in depth next week, I imagine. We'll touch more
we'll
on
have-
this on the Punisher.
We'll both have finished it by then. So
Yeah, because of course this past Friday was a triple threat in terms of geek culture releases. I don't think either of us are going to be covering Star Wars Battlefront 2, though. So
No, but
don't hold
I
your
had
breath
Poke-
for that, listeners.
I had Pokemon Ultra Sun come out, so
Oh my god, it was a
that.
quadruple threat.
It was a quadruple threat. So yeah, there was a lot going on Friday.
Yeah.
And I saw Murder on the Orient Express on Thursday night as well, so
Oh, I was going to go see that today, and then I woke up too late. So I'll probably see it in the
it's
week.
pretty good, man. It's pretty good.
Did you
Yeah.
find out who did it?
You do find out, in fact, who done it.
Oh my god, they should name a genre after that.
I know, right? Right,
Rana's Tash.
The Punisher. Early as we are, what do you think of it so far? Rubbish!
To our younger listeners, that was not Matt's actual review.
No.
He was referencing an old school joke.
A
from
very
a classic comedy double.
old joke. Old ass joke.
Oh god, but old ones are the best ones.
No, the old ones are just the old ones.
Old ones are the old ones.
The old ones are coming, and they will consume our little world as if it were but a morsel.
As if it merely were tissue paper to their already wetted lips from the blood of their feast. We are merely just being torn asunder atop their plump, juicy mouth holes.
We are but capers atop their roast pig.
Oh my god.
What are we
that was our
doing?
review of Punisher. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Moving on. I really am enjoying it. It is sort of, I don't think uncomfortable is the right word, but it's tough viewing.
It's
Not
bleak.
because of-
It's
not because of
really,
how it
really
works.
bleak.
That's it, yeah. That's it. It's a bleak show. Like, the Netflix shows don't really have any vibe other than that, I suppose. Defenders felt a little bit more like a party. And certain elements of Luke Cage, especially its soundtrack, made that feel like a show with a bit more levity.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't comment on Iron Fist because, like 95% of the population, didn't really bother.
You
But
don't need to, mate.
Didn't really bother. You took the hit for me.
I did. I took that bullet.
My sweet summer child, and so there is already kind of a this is the MCU's quote unquote dark and gritty arm, but that's fine because it's episodic television where we get to actually develop dread and develop these feelings.
Wait,
of,
they're doing a Dread
fear.
series.
Oh god, I wish. Hopefully, eventually, Mega City 1 or whatever, any version, I'll take it.
Just something.
Yeah, but that's what's nice about this one is it's a sequel. Like, Frank's story is told in flashbacks in Daredevil season 2, and there's some flashbacks to sort of prior to that in this that fill out a little bit more what he was doing with that group and why everybody would be trying to sort of wipe the others out and whatnot in the aftermath. This series definitely deals with his, if you want to call it superhero origin, because it does focus a lot on that fateful day with his family and everything.
Yeah.
and obviously his motivations. But I wouldn't go into the Punisher cold. If you guys haven't seen Daredevil Series 2, or at least the first 4 or 5 eps of Daredevil Series 2, I'd watch them first. Because this does feel almost like one giant juicy epilogue to that story.
Yeah, it absolutely spins out of what goes on in Daredevil Season 2.
The opening scenes
Season 2 anyway, because it's fucking great, but...
Yeah. Well, like, the opening scenes of this are him checking the last 2 people off his list and then retiring the Punisher.
Yeah.
That's the opening of the show. You're like, oh, hang on. Isn't this episode 1 of the Punisher?
Everybody is dead, Dave. Everybody is dead, Dave. Everybody is dead.
You trying to tell me everyone's dead?
Everyone is dead.
But yeah, it's a really nice, strong start. It shows off how skilled this guy is, and then it sort of cuts ahead, like presumably about 6 months a year.
It says 6 months.
6 months, yeah. And it's sort of this perfectly kind of. It's the closest Frank Castle would ever get to being content, even though that's not the right word for it.
Yeah.
Like, he's dealing with his demons himself. He's spending some time with at least one, friend from the military. Like, not a lot of time, but checking up on him. And he's working a job that lets him take out all that anger and rage without actually having to point a weapon at a person or take a life. And he's content, but miserable as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, he's one of those, he's never really going to get...
He could live to the end of his days like this.
Yeah.
Because it means he's out of harm's way and he's taking out his aggression.
Yeah.
But then somebody notices him and the story begins. I just spent the majority of that pilot wanting him to beat the crap out of the dickheads at the construction site.
Oh, I take it you were eventually satisfied then, huh?
Oh, good lord, yes. Well, you just watched it, you were just like, these guys are assholes.
Yeah.
And they try to humanise them slightly, but not enough that you'll feel bad when he obviously snaps out of it and goes, oh, fuck it, I'm getting my hands dirty again.
Yeah, every
so it's like, fair enough.
Everyone in this show, except, with the possible exception of Karen, and who also returns, and the Lieberman family.
Yes, yeah. That's really good.
They're kind of arseholes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is not a show of heroes.
No, absolutely not. Which is what I was worried about. Like,
even his two, one of them, as far as episode 4, one of them doesn't know he's still around, but obviously the guy who runs this support group does. Like, 2 of the people who fought alongside him, like in the past and stuff, both express regret that he never got in touch with them when he was on his vengeance mission, because they would have helped. Like, it was like, even they're like, they're doing it for the right reasons because, they feel that these bastards need to pay.
Yeah.
But it still means that they're going to kill some people. So it's like,
but I mean, it raises some interesting moral questions as well. I think you probably haven't seen too much of it yet, but the relationship between Frank and Micro is really interesting.
Yeah, because I was a bit. I'll say this, like, because of what I know of Punisher.
Yeah,
like what I have read and what what versions of him I've seen adapted before. Like Micro / he's been called Microchip before.
I believe so. Yeah, he's just called Micro in this.
Like his relationship with Micro, I was spending that first couple of episodes going, oh, cool. So like this is a getting the band together kind of thing and this is how they got to know each other. But by episode 4, I'm like, oh no, like they're working together because they're both ghosts.
Yeah.
And Frank's reluctant, at least by episode 4, but like Micro's like has openly reached out to him to try and make a friend. Get someone on side. But this is not a partnership, really. Frank gets to take care of Micro's family a bit, which Micro can't do. And it's just like, which is fun, because obviously it means that it's like, oh, I can now communicate with them directly, in a way, through Frank. Like, find out stuff and make sure they're okay. But at the same time, you can just see already the jealousy. And it doesn't help that the first time Frank met his family was because it was basically for like collateral. He was going there to send the message of, I know where they live, I can get to them this easily, don't test me. Dark, man. John Bernthal, obviously, is back as Punisher. Good lord, he's brilliant. Oh my god, I mean, he was great in Daredevil, but in Daredevil he was playing the role of secondary antagonist.
He's wonderful in this. He's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, like, he's gone from being sort of story arc character / secondary villain of the series to, like, you know, the lead we're following completely, and this guy is carrying baggage. Like, you feel it. You feel it so much, and just like, oh god. I can't imagine, just from an acting standpoint, how absolutely knackered his body, and especially his throat, must have been.
Oh god.
After certain sequences, yeah. He's just bellowing, like, he's just getting rid of everything when he's smashing that wall to pieces, and then when you see, like, the assault, the flashback on the special ops mission in the third episode, where he's just screaming through the gunfire. It's like, oh my god, how are you alive?
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, terrible, and terrifying thing.
It is. He's brilliant. This is our fourth live action interpretation of the Punisher. Is John, isn't it? Yeah, because Dolph Lundgren was the first one. In everything, in nothing but name.
Yeah, pretty much.
Then Thomas Jane 2004 does a pretty decent job.
Yeah, that Thomas Jane movie is deeply flawed, but I have a soft spot for it.
Yeah, I can't help but like it. It's sort of it's a 90s comic book movie in that the main attraction appears to be, and here's your guest star John Travolta as the villain.
The villain.
And he's a lot of fun, but he does sort of steal a lot of the movie in that, you know, 90s Batman movie kind of way.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. I mean, the whole stuff with the Russian and everything is freaking amazing. The fight in the apartment block. And what do you call it? And Punisher Warzone.
Yeah.
Is really good.
I love Punisher Warzone. It is. I watched it not long ago, actually. Again, it is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, though. It's not deep storytelling. It's just, want to see a violent movie with a character that's sort of like that one from the comics you know about? Enjoy.
And also, Jigsaw is just Dominic West just having the best time.
Jigsaw is the most.
He's just a lot, right? He's just a lot.
And yet, still doesn't sort of like distract you like John Travolta did in the previous one.
Well,
this guy's face is cut up and everything, and yet he's still not as distracting as the guy in the last one.
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I enjoy them, but Bernthal, like, you know, Ray Stevenson in that was a lot of fun, but like Bernthal's just.
Well, this is the most grounded take on the character we've had. Like, it's the most realistic.
What do you mean? Spider-Man the animated series was the most grounded one, of course. Obviously.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, with his bandana and his microchip, who looked like comic book guy.
Yep. Oh, that's.
And the fact that he only used like ray guns and nets.
Yeah, he punishes with bondage,
spankings, lashings of spanking.
Yeah, it's got issues, all right? I'm not going to defend it. Listen, this series is pretty good, and I've yet to finish it, so it could shit itself, but I like it so far. That's my word on it for now.
What? How many episodes is it? Is it 12?
It's a full 13, I think. I might be 12, but it's a full.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do we predict the Netflix slump?
Yes. Because
yeah, I've got a feeling that we're going to get the Netflix slump.
I predict the Netflix slump. We might. I am worried that we're not going to get any proper Punisher until towards the end of the show, when we should just be punishing straight away. And we sort of are, and then we're not.
Yeah.
And I want us to get punishing again properly.
Yeah, you don't want the show to glorify the violence, but you want it to at least indulge in it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about it more next week, but like I say, I'm on episode 6 going into episode 7, and I suspect we might be getting a similar sort of structure to the Luke Cage series, where he spends a couple of episodes in the middle of the series, like, not really being able to do much. So we'll see how that goes, and
I don't know too much about the plot going forward, but did you notice the Marnucci reference in the first one?
I also did. Did you also notice the name of one of his best friends?
Snap! No, when? What? Huh?
So the guy who runs the private military company, who is Frank's best mate,
Yeah.
he's called Billy Russo.
Billy Russo.
That's Jigsaw.
What? Wait, what?
Jigsaw's real name is Billy Russo.
So they freaking snuck that in, didn't
Oh,
they?
yes, they did.
Oh my god! So they're going to save that for later, I'm assuming.
I don't know. I don't know if we'll get Jigsaw, but that's Billy Russo.
Oh my god, that adds a whole freaking new level to that character. Then, if it's literally someone who's fought alongside him and like has respect for him and everything, that makes him even more of a twisted mirror.
Oh yeah. So,
that could be good.
We'll see where that goes, and then next week we shall dive into the Netflix Punisher series and just get all covered in it and gooey in that and bloody and whatever.
You know how the first episode ended with the last line, someone going, "Welcome back, Frank."
Yes.
Yeah. How it was name dropping something that everyone loves about that character.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what else had a character deliver a line at the end of a scene that was a reference to something everyone liked about that character but didn't deserve it because the product that it was in was absolutely dreadful throughout?
Are you perhaps talking about the latest cinematic release from Warner Brothers, The League of Justice?
The League of Justice. Lovely, man. All of them. Wow. Okay.
Right, I should start up front by saying that, okay, this is not as bad as BVS or Suicide Squad.
Yeah. I don't think that's saying much, though.
That's really not saying much. I think it's hovering at like 43% on Rotten Tomatoes or something at the moment, after it had been held back as well.
Yeah, oh god.
Like, they'd held back the
it was
score.
like we were saying last week, wasn't it? They're going to announce it. It's like, good luck. Like, what a stupid move if it's been getting terrible reviews.
Yeah.
I bet they didn't. I bet on that live thing or whatever it was on the Friday, I bet they just were like, oh, and it's out now. Okay, so do you know what I mean? Like, didn't focus on it.
It has got a real battering in the press, and I am happy to confirm that it deserved most of that battering.
Yeah.
It's not good.
No, it's not. Okay, spoiler free for a while, Famalam, and then we'll get into some spoiler territory for those who still want to go and see it. But yeah, Justice League, I summed it up in my YouTube review at the beginning as it's a 2017 PlayStation 1 cutscene.
Yeah, it's
just a whirlwind of CGI set pieces and backgrounds and physics that just are as tonally deaf as the script.
There's just way too much CGI in it. There's just too much.
This is what I said on Twitter when I got attacked back in March by really defensive DC fans. They were like, we don't like a big CGI mess, what do you call it, Guardians of the Galaxy? And I'm like, a coherent visual piece of film.
Yeah.
I can see everything that's happening in that. Also, you can't shoot on location in space.
You can't. That's true.
So there we go. It's just, oh god. Right. So the basics for those who don't know, set several months after the events of Batman v Superman.
Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, Batman and Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman, and a few others get wind of an oncoming force, a creature known as Steppenwolf, who apparently attacked our world, eons before, to claim these powerful items known as mother boxes. He needs 3 of them, and once he has them, he's going to bring his homeworld apocalypse to Earth. So Batman and Wonder Woman are like, right, well, we need a team to fight him. Let's recruit those 3 other people who were in those zip files in the last movie. So they go to recruit the GIF squad press pack, and with varying levels of success, eventually they manage to get the other 3 on board. But even after facing off against Steppenwolf, they go, no, we need something bigger, and they have a dormant, deceased member of the superhero world who may or may not be able to turn the tide. This film's a clusterfuck.
It is.
Oh.
It is. It's an absolute mess. It's just a mess.
God. Do you know what
It's
though?
such a mess.
Here's the thing. Do you know what it made me think of?
What did it make you think of?
It made me think of like the late 90s, early 2000s superhero movie climate, which was very small and there wasn't very much going on in it. It made me think this is what a superhero film would have been like had superhero films not been sort of killed off a bit in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Around that time. Because it does feel like they're just sort of going, throw in stuff that people will recognise visually. That's all we need. So it's full of, big grand shots of Batman's vehicles, even though, apart from the Batmobile, they're all vehicles that we've never bloody seen before and look nothing like Batman-related stuff.
Nope, they're very, very blandly designed.
Yeah, Wonder Woman gets a ton of hero shots.
Can we just say before anything else, Gal Gadot is the best thing in this movie, hands down.
Yeah, I completely agree. She is not the standout character that she was in Wonder Woman, but that's because this script doesn't seem to understand why that character was beloved in the previous installment.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't give her very much to work with, but she shines with what she's got.
Oh yeah,
her introduction, I think, might be my favourite scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Once it's in the building itself, her stood on the bloody statue at the start of it made me go. I watched the Mark Commode review about an hour ago.
Yeah,
and he summed it up. He was just like, "How did she get up there?
How did she get there?
How did she get up there? And why does she think that's a good vantage point for the thing that's happening in the building beneath her? Like, why? What is this? It doesn't make any sense."
Also,
but once she entered the fight, I was like, okay, Wonder Woman in a modern setting. I like this.
Yes.
I also thought it is a weird little pro for the movie. I like that the sort of religious extremists, the terrorists in that scene, were posh, upper class, white British men. Like it was kind of nice. It was kind of nice to see a filmmaker who's all about sort of very stereotypical macho, these are army, these are bad guys, these are good guys sort of angle of Zack Snyder be like, yeah, let's not just do movie terrorists because that's kind of offensive nowadays. Do you know what I mean? He's like, terrorists are not a specific race or religion. Let's have different terrorists for once.
Especially in a world where actual real life white terrorists kind of get swept under the rug.
Yeah. Bloody. So it's receiving text. Not now, I'm recording.
Not now.
I'm recording.
Yeah, what was I saying? Yes. So that was cool. Like, just little things like. Okay, do you know what? Let's do something. Let's do something, Matt. Let's do something we don't normally do.
What's that?
We're in the non-spoiler section right now.
Yeah.
But let's simplify it. Let's each say a pro, and then we can each say a con. So let's go back and forth a bit.
A pro of Justice League.
Because I think people are going to be listening to this going, like, you guys are just biased. And I can understand why people would think that, because we clearly have had a disdain for the majority of this output so far.
I will say, one of the most frustrating things about this film is that there are germs of about 5 or 6 decent films in there.
Yeah.
That have just been mashed together, and it's all got lost in translation. So I can pick out some pros.
Okay, let's. In that case, darling, you go first. Give us a pro, Matt. Give us a pro.
I think approximately 75 to 80% of Ezra Miller's Flash stuff is pretty damn good, and I quite like that character.
Okay.
Some of it falls flat, and when it falls flat, it falls really flat. But I like the majority of it.
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, that's I don't agree entirely, but like, yeah, there was stuff there that I really enjoyed. I don't know. No. Save it for the con. Okay, that was a pro.
Yeah, save it for the con. Give me a pro.
A pro. Mild spoiler alert. We'll delve more into spoilers, but if you've been missing a Superman who feels like Superman, you get at least 10 minutes of that in the third act. Like, you get a Superman that feels more like Superman should do for the first time in 3 movies. But I won't say too much more, lest people still not realise that the guy who's in all the promotional interviews isn't in the movie.
Yeah. Actually, fuck this. Spoilers, no spoilers. Superman's in this movie, my dudes.
Yes.
Like, he's in this movie. You know how you know he's in this movie? Because his symbol's on the fucking posters. Because Henry Cavill's got second billing in the credits. That's why you know Superman's in this movie. Oh, this is Justice League movie? Superman's in this movie, everybody. Superman is coming back from the dead in this movie somehow.
Hit me with a con, Matt.
All CGI / mostly CGI characters look fucking abysmal. They look so bad, and at least and neither of the 2 major CGI characters needed to be CGI.
Yeah, Cyborg could have been practical, absolutely. And I think the best he looks is when he's wearing civilian clothes.
But he's got the Michael Bay Transformers problem of just being over designed.
Yeah, like his body proportions slightly weird as well. Like he's got sort of, his arms are slightly too long and they've made his waist like scary thin. And it's like, what is this? Cyborg traditionally is a bigger, clunkier build.
Yeah.
Like, why not just stick to a human build that's a bit more on the clunky side?
And also, you can build a suit, you don't have to make CGI.
Yeah. And while we're at it, Steppenwolf. Do you know what my biggest problem with his CGI was, more than anything? The fact that they tried to make him look very humanoid in the face and everything. Like he just looks like it's a human face covered in makeup, but made out of CGI.
Yeah.
And it doesn't remotely try to reflect the vocal performance Kieran Hines is giving it.
No, not at all.
So Kieran Hines will shout, and Steppenwolf's face will look like he's just saying something.
Yeah.
Now,
Pretty
I
much.
wouldn't mind him being all CGI if you did what you do with the Parademons, and his face wasn't just humanoid. Like if he was more exaggerated, like big brow, glowing eyes, like sort of a bit of a tusk or an overbite or something. I'd be like, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're going to make him look human, the least you could do is at least stick some dots on Kieran Hines' face in the recording booth.
And get some of that performance.
Yeah. and it made me realise, you don't really see that often in films nowadays, do you? Where a whole CGI character who's in it a lot isn't played with performance capture involved. You really don't see that anymore. So this stuck out like an early 2000s kind of character. It was oh god. And while we're at it then, my first con, good sir, kind sir.
Okay.
The plot of this movie, both the apocalypse stuff and everything, relies very heavily on you knowing the events of Batman v Superman. Considering this, oh yeah,
in at least one case,
yeah,
explicitly contradicts the continuity of Batman versus Superman.
Oh, which bit?
Cyborg's origins.
Yeah, this implies that he was created like after those events.
Yeah,
doesn't it? And yet in that we see the bloody zip file of him being built.
Yeah.
Oh, for Christ's sake. Ugh. But that's the thing. This film is trying to tonally retcon this universe to be more fun and light-hearted.
Which would be fine, but it doesn't work in context of the larger series.
Yeah, the fact that it's part 2 of something that was so polar opposite to that. It's weird. It's so bloody weird.
Towards the end of this movie, I was thinking, you know what? If this had been the first Justice League movie, and this had been introducing all these characters, then with a slightly tweaked script, this could have been pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. If we'd have had Man of Steel,
yeah,
just to set up Superman, and then what you do is you the second one is like one of these guys reaches out to him and is like, "Hi, we need to talk. Like, we want to know that you're..." Because, I mean, there you go. Instead of Batman v Superman, the first movie could have been the Justice League going like, right, who is this guy? Is he a threat? Like,
yeah,
what is he? We need to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, and there's your conflict, because that's something films can't bloody resist. And I think Marvel's Avengers started this unwillingly. unwittingly. Avengers Assemble has the sort of obligatory superheroes teaming up for the first time scene of them not getting on and fighting.
Yep.
So you have the Captain America, Iron Man, Thor fight. And then obviously the Hulk's like a powder keg, so there's the scene where they're having to take him on and everything. But then obviously the next time... Well, Marvel has a fight with the Hulk again in Age of Ultron with the Hulkbuster armor, and then Civil War is about a discourse between the heroes' ideologies and what side of a debate that they're on, and they have to fight. They're not fighting to the death or anything, but they're having to stop the others from achieving one thing and la la la. So Batman v Superman was a movie just about two of them trying to beat each other to death.
Yeah.
And then this movie even has another scene, sort of a forced scene of, the heroes have to fight a hero, that had some cool moments in it, but ultimately it was like, what was the point in that? Considering how quickly it wraps up afterwards. So what was the point? It just seemed really pointless. And also, I think Red Letter Media pointed out, that scene took place at night in the trailers.
Really?
And it was definitely, there's the shot of Flash bounding backwards and sort of like, his hands on the ground, and then he gets back up and runs in, and that's at night time. It was shot in the day, because it contains that photo of the four of the team stood on the monument steps.
But it'd have been shot for day for night anyway, probably.
Yeah, but like in a way where you're like, well, what was the point then? just shoot it at night. Like,
I feel like a lot of this movie was sort of shot, change back, reshot.
Well,
change.
That scene definitely existed in the first version because Cavill was whole in that scene.
For some of it, not for all of it.
Not for all, but for like the big action beats, that was him. Like, that was his whole face, which we'll get to in a minute. Give us a pro, Matt.
I quite like Ben Affleck's grizzled, bitter, self-deprecating Batman. I liked most of Batman's stuff, which is because in a lot of the reviews I've seen the sort of criticism of Ben Affleck, like he's sort of playing the whole thing with one eye on the exit. I quite liked his Batman. I thought it was pretty good. So, I don't know. What do I know? I liked Ben Affleck's Batman in this.
Fair enough.
I just think...
I get what you mean. There is an element of the of the sort of the the Justice League animated kind of thing of like, well, this is at least the third weirdest thing I've had to deal with this week. What have we got? Like, it's that kind of
and also like
vibe of like he's an old hat at weird shit by now,
and also he's just tired. He's so tired.
Yeah,
and
he should
up.
retired.
Yeah, yeah, he should be retired. That's for sure.
And then Dick Grayson could be Batman, and it'll be fun.
Yeah. Give me a pro, Chris.
I think, given the material he was handed, and the fact that they didn't go into what could really be interesting for the character, I think Ray Fisher did a pretty good job as Cyborg. There was much better emotional story beat that could have been followed that they didn't go with. And I would like to have seen an actor like that tackle that stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, I came away from this going, do you know what? You were dealt a really sort of shitty, awkward hand. You did a half-decent job with it. And I think a lot of what did work about Cyborg, when Cyborg worked, was completely down to him.
Yeah, I like Ray Fisher in this.
I didn't really care too much for Cyborg, but considering like I already am not that plussed about that character, plus the fact they didn't really give him much to work with, I think he did a damn admirable job, and I want to see him get more theatrical roles.
Yeah, I'll go for that.
Because it would suck if this was his like first and last foray into cinema.
Yeah, because I'm not sure we're going to be getting that Cyborg solo movie off the back of this.
No. Well, we nearly have done. A bunch of the deleted scenes leaked online this weekend, and about 4 of them are Cyborg ones.
Yeah, I can believe that.
One specifically being like a flashback to him pre-accident.
Well, yeah, that was in one of the original trailers of him playing football.
Yeah. So butchered movie. They took off 50 minutes.
Oh, this thing's
butchered movie.
This thing's been cut to the fucking bone, but we'll get to that. My next. Okay, we'll do one more con each before we get into spoilers, so we can really get our teeth into this shit. My next con, my last con before we go into spoilers is Jason Momoa and everything about him.
Yeah, some reviews described it as it's like he's walked in from a different movie. And I don't even want to see that movie.
It's just terrible. It's just all bad. Nothing is good about any of it.
Hey guys, regular cinema goers who have never read these books and that. Aquaman, what's he like? Oh, he's like a dickhead with long hair. Okay, what else?
He's like a dickhead
that's
with
it,
long hair.
He's just a dickhead with long hair. That's his character. He's a dickhead with long hair. That is it. Oh my god, he's just Yeah. And they sort of hint at a bigger story. They hint that he ran away from taking the throne.
Yeah, because Mira's in this.
Yeah, and
she's never identified.
She's never identified. They meet for the first time
here. Yeah.
Yeah, here.
And it's
these characters who have a big history in the comics and the source material. And she's not introduced properly. She's performed with a weird accent. What is Amber Heard doing with her voice?
Oh, I don't know.
She was sort of like trying to affect royal, like British royal, but was still American.
I don't know what any of this was, but yeah.
I'm going to say this. I hope James Wan's developed a more visually interesting language for the underwater stuff for Aquaman.
Yeah.
Because that looked dull. Like, dull as pig shit.
It's difficult to do action in a medium which slows everything down.
Mm.
Like, being underwater slows everything to a crawl. So you want intense action with that. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Which is probably why there hasn't been a Aquaman movie before now, because I know one's been in. They've been trying to do one for years. Same with Namor, I think.
Well, speaking of things that don't work, my final com before we go into spoilers involves the weirdest bit of correction I've ever seen in a movie. Ever. So we covered this on the show before. Henry Cavill, I think it's not wrapped because during the press for Justice League he still had like facial
because
hair.
the production was paused because Tom Cruise was injured during a stunt.
Okay, alright, okay, so it's been elongated and whatnot. But So Henry Cavill is in Mission Impossible 6 and he has a full mustache and sort of like a half-grown beard as kind of like, it seems to be the facial hairstyle he's got for that movie.
Yeah.
And Justice League did extensive reshoots, some for, personal unavoidable reasons, and others because the movie was getting basically completely retooled. And that meant that they had to do reshoots that obviously weren't originally scheduled. So Warner Brothers went, "Oi, Paramount, whoever it is, we need Cavill." And they were like, "Right, well, okay, look, let's move this around and move that. Okay, you can have him for like 3 weeks there. Like, you've got him for 3 weeks. You have him. He's yours. Great. Oh, hang on. He's got facial hair. Can you shave that off? We just made time for you. We're not sacrificing anything else for you."
Yeah.
No. Like, you deal with that. Our problem was helping... Like, our problem, which we didn't even need to say yes to, was helping you find some extra time to film with him. We made that work. We're not doing anything else for you. Even though it probably would have cost Paramount much less to provide facial hair prosthetics for Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible 6.
Yeah.
Than it would have for digital artists to come in. But maybe Warner Brothers didn't spend that much money because, oh boy... It certainly looks like they underpaid the animators.
It's so weird.
So for about 50% of his screen time, Henry Cavill's upper lip...
I'd argue more than that.
The rest of his lower face, but definitely his upper lip is the most distinct, I think.
I'd argue more than that. I would say like at least 75% of his material has been reshot.
Yeah.
Judging off the amount of uncanny upper lip in this movie.
Oh, it's horrible.
It is so weird.
Do you know what it looks like they've done? It looks like, on the set, what they didn't do was they didn't, like, slick his mustache back as far as they could along the bottom, just so his lip would be exposed.
Yeah.
It looks like they just left it as was, and then animated a very basic upper lip that's had weird digital collagen injections.
I had to guess where his upper lip was, because...
Yeah.
It doesn't...
Oh, and the movie opens with this.
Yeah.
Do you know what else? Right, so that scene was obviously never originally planned. That was shot during the reshoots because Cavill's been digitally altered in the face.
Yeah.
The movie opens, everybody, minor spoiler alert, with some cell phone footage of a young kid and his mates filming Superman after he's performed a rescue of something at some point. And they ask him some questions, and he's going to fly off, but he sort of stops, and he's like, all right. And he answers their stupid questions, and then the credits start. And it's a cute little idea, if not for two things. One, I wonder if they added that during the reshoots specifically because of Spider-Man Homecoming's opening. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if a studio mandate was, people loved what they did with that, like, they've rebooted that over there. Do something like that. Do something like that. Have someone film him. Have a kid filming him at the start. Do you know what I mean? Just something like that to be like, see? Then everyone will go, oh, this is the tone now. La 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 la.
Maybe not.
That's the thing though. Like, I wouldn't be the amount of upper meddling in stuff before that is just sort of lifted because studio execs don't learn the right lessons.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, it wouldn't shock me, but I don't. Yeah.
But the most offensive thing about it is that's the opening shot of the film, and the opening shot of the film features Uncanny Valley Superman on his own, the sole focus in a vertical camera shot in the middle of a black screen. And it's like, oh, this is how... I mean, start as you mean to go on, and this is how you started. Okay, I think I know what I'm in for the next 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Ultimately, Justice League is... It is not a great film, considering it's the first film adaptation of the Justice League of America.
It's not even a good film. It's not even a competent film.
It has flashes of brilliance, but they are flashes.
Yeah.
They are there and then they are gone. It's tonally deaf. It could work as a reboot button for this franchise were it not so reliant on you knowing and having watched the previous movie in the series, Batman v Superman. Because it means that all the course correction just feels false. It feels sickly and gross.
Yeah.
Like they've got, it's like they've smacked you around the face, and then you've not seen them for 20 minutes, then they come back and they're like, oh yeah, you're alright, how you doing? And they're not apologising, but they're acting really nice. They're buying you an ice cream, and we're having a great time. You're like, you slapped me in the face before. I'm not going to forget that. You should probably say something. You're not going to say something about it? Okay, no, cool, alright. Yeah, it just feels gross and uncomfortable because of that. I'm not saying Batman v Superman physically assaulted me. It mentally did. So I wouldn't recommend it. How about you, Matt? Would you recommend people go to see this? Or
do not go and see this because it's not even got the train wreck sort of fascination level that Batman v Superman had, where you just kind of wanted to see it just to see how bad it was going to get. It's just boring. Yeah. It's boring and it's incoherent and just a jumble of nonsense. And what little redeeming stuff there is in it is not enough to excuse its 2-hour runtime, which feels more like double that.
Oh God.
Let's get into spoilers.
Yeah, let's do this thing.
Because I've got some things to say.
Rude things?
No, not necessarily.
Kinky things? In-betweenky things?
In-betweenky things. I've got some in-betweenky things to say. Okay, so spoiler warning for Justice League at this point. If you haven't seen Justice League and you care about spoilers, go watch it. Don't go watch it, though, because it's fucking terrible. Just listen to us talk about it. Right.
Should we start with minor quibbles and then just build?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're talking about resurrecting Superman with a mother box, which in itself is treated like just a, oh yeah, no, oh we should do that. Yeah, that'd be good. Oh, I'm not sure about this. No, we should do it. 10 minutes later, they've done it.
Yeah.
They dig up Superman's corpse and resurrect him.
They
in a method that 90% only makes sense if you saw the previous movie, which they're trying to distance themselves from.
Oh yeah.
But the thing that really annoyed me about that scene is Aquaman's like, nah, like when you come back, you lose something. It's like, yeah, when you die, you lose something. It could be your soul, could be your mind. And I'm like, how do you know? Why are you imparting wisdom? Have you resurrected someone before? Anything? Like, are you gonna? I mean, surely, if you want to give this to a character, like maybe Batman could have a moment of caution and make a sort of a nod at the Lazarus Pits or something.
Mhm.
Like, considering apparently he's already had all the adventures I'd actually like to see in a film. But no, Aquaman's spouting out this wisdom and advice. Then there's no explanation as to why he would know that.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
All the
What?
All the characterizations to a lesser or greater degree are inconsistent because, as we've discussed, a bunch of this movie was reshot and retooled and jammed together at the last minute. But none more so than Aquaman's.
Oh, but he gets his character moment where he admits that he's actually kind of frightened, and that's why being in a team is good. And this, that, the only. Oh, he sat on the lasso of truth. Hang on, we've not had any development for him at all apart from this moment. We're treating it like a joke.
Yeah.
So, oh, for Christ's sake. Cyborg at least said booyah, which did what the John Williams and Danny Elfman Superman and Batman themes respectively did in the film. Reminded me of a better thing with these characters in.
And they were barely there. Like, they were there and it was weird and sort of jarring.
Was like
but
Cyborg
you never
saying...
saw the full grandioseness of those themes.
But like Cyborg going booyah, it was given a hero shot.
Yeah.
And as a fan of the Teen Titans animated show from the 2000s, I was like, I appreciate that. But everyone sat around me, apart from maybe a couple of people. I looked around the cinema at that moment because I was curious. And there was a big mix of people there. It was a small screen of about 200 seats. And I'd say about 100 of them were full. It was Saturday mornings. There was lots of families and stuff.
I think mine was about 3/4 full, but it was a Friday night, so...
Yeah. There was about two other people who were sort of smiling when he said booyah. And I was like, either they are just really enjoying this movie, in which case more power to them, or they are also Teen Titans fans, and they went, oh, cool, he said the thing from the show. But it totally made no sense.
No, I think...
It's like, this has not been a character who would say something like that for the entire movie. Why has he just said that?
It would have made more sense if there was a flashback of him doing something like, I don't know, playing football and getting a touchdown and saying booyah. And like seeing him in his like happier pre-accident self, and then remembering it with this scene at the end where he starts to come into his old self a bit more. And
well, that's the thing. Like my favorite Cyborg moment was after him and Superman like managed to pull the mother boxes apart, and they were just sort of joking a bit, because it hurt. Yeah, and it was like, oh my god, it's the Justice League. Yeah, here they are
for like 2 seconds.
For 2 seconds, there was a couple of moments where like I was like, oh, this feels like one of the animated shows or whatever brought to life. There was a couple of moments like that. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, was it when the Batman theme played? No. Nothing like that. Absolutely nothing like that. It was specifically 2 moments with Superman. The first was when they broke the mother boxes apart, and then he's like, oh, I take it back. I wish I was dead. And like he's just joking with Cyborg. And it was this really nice moment of, oh, we saved the day, but boy, did that hurt. Oh, it was just like, that was great.
Yeah.
And the bit where Superman and Flash were trying to evacuate people.
Oh, yeah.
And you saw Flash, like Speed Force that truck out of the way, and then look to his right, and Superman's lifting an entire apartment block full of people and placing it down. It was like, good. Oh, look, there's 2 moments that feel like something out of Justice League, the animated series. But that's the thing, isn't it? This movie is full of just little bits that made you go, oh, but I think we're so attuned now to fan wank.
Yeah.
That we can tell they're just doing it to try and get you back on board.
This movie cannot survive on the things it gets right because it gets so much wrong.
You can't live on references alone.
No.
A reference should be just that, just a tip of the hat. And there you go.
No amount of Green Lanterns in flashbacks can excuse...
Wasn't that so weird? Wasn't that really jarring?
It was strange.
I mean, I hated that flashback already because it was implying that like a few hundred or a few thousand years ago, there was a giant space-age battle on a field somewhere that was so ginormous with millions dead and all this. And it's like, I'm sorry. Based on your movies so far, specifically the first one, Man of Steel, and Wonder Woman for that matter, in terms of talking about like, what they talk about in this, about, her being relatively sort of underground for a century.
Yeah.
Based on this world you've introduced to us, that shit didn't happen, did it? Don't lie. Don't tell us that there was a giant war and that there isn't any carvings or textbooks about it or anything. Like, no.
Well, there's the Atlantean ones in Iceland.
Yeah, but that's just chicken scratch on a wall, and
Well,
it specifically has him in it, which means that like people are just drawing it for him. So it's like, well, who's drawn the mother boxes then? I mean, he's obviously done it, hasn't he? Oh my god, there's plot holes unfurling before my eyes.
Oh
as we
god,
talk about
yeah,
this.
it's
Like, he would have
nonsense.
drawn that, because they don't know about Atlantis. They just know that a guy shows up, like, every year, delivers a bunch of fish, looks after them for a bit, and then buggers off.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Can we talk about the opening scene?
Yes, please.
Which was kind of cool briefly, until it ended, and I was like, I'm sorry, did Batman just leave the thief on the roof with the stuff he was stealing?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened.
Why would he do that? He's not chasing after something at the end of that scene. He's got some information, then he just leaves. Like, there's a criminal there. A criminal you were stopping. You mean you just stopped the criminal so you could attract the parademon?
Yeah, but he was all tied up, though.
And
so
why
it
were you
was
attracting
alright.
the parademon? Because they said, like, oh, they've been popping up more often recently and they attract to fear. So you knew that that exact moment would cause a parademon to appear. What?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
There wasn't a pattern to them. The movie spends ages saying there isn't a pattern. They just keep showing up. And they've been kidnapping people. And then we find out they've been kidnapping people so that they can ask them if they've got where they know where the mother box is. But why would random people know where the mother box is? Because they don't capture what's it, Dr. Stone and the janitor from that facility because they know the mother box is there. Like, they're looking for it. Like, you see parademons looking for something. But the other people that were kidnapped weren't from that facility. They were just randoms.
They never explain it. They looked like scientists.
Well, they've
maybe.
been picked. There was like one picked up in London and one picked up in and this,
Oh,
and
yeah,
you're like, well, why would they know? Like, and also here's an idea. Instead of snapping their necks after 20 seconds of them being, please don't kill me, maybe keep them around so you can ask them some questions. I mean, yeah, you were trying to motivate the others to talk, but none of them were doing it. So, oh god,
Wasn't really working, was it? Also,
you're a little more clued up on your DC.
only a little.
Who's the mother he keeps referring to?
God knows.
Because I was like, is it? Because this is all I know of Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf is one of like the emissaries of Darkseid.
Yeah.
Darkseid is the ruler of Apocalypse, like basically hell, the planet.
Yeah.
People that they kill become their undead legion, the parademons.
Yeah.
There's some fucked up hierarchy that like Darkseid's in charge, but there's people like Desard and Granny Goodness, and one of them is Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf is Darkseid's uncle.
Yeah, I think so.
And he's in servitude to Darkseid simply because Darkseid's the more powerful, but he doesn't like it, and he would love to overthrow him one day.
Everyone would love to overthrow Darkseid.
Yeah. In this, Steppenwolf is after 3 MacGuffins that will turn Earth into hell. And he keeps talking to Mother through the boxes, because they're called Mother boxes. We learn nothing more. We learn absolutely nothing more. But based on the previous movie, this is the ding 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 ding, the bell has been rung. This is that. Like, Superman's been killed. There's stuff out there that's going to come here now. So the prophecy's over. So where do you go from here? What was the point?
And also, Steppenwolf keeps mentioning that there's no Kryptonian anymore. But
Yeah.
does that mean the Kryptonians fought with the new gods before Krypton was destroyed?
Well, I was going to say, well, if that's the case, then they would have had to have fought them on
Yellow.
Earth to know. Yeah, like
or
how
at least
powerful
yellow
they
sun
are.
planets.
Oh God, makes no sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Oh God.
It makes literally no sense.
Oh, God.
Just like the constant cutbacks to a Russian family, which does eventually get a payoff.
Well,
But
that's
it
the
just
thing.
seems so out of place.
When they first did it, I was like, I remember sitting there and being like, okay, that was Superman's going to save them, isn't he? Superman's going to save them, or something like someone is going to come in at the last minute during the third act and save that family.
Yeah.
And then it came back to them like 2 or 3 times. Oh, look, she's picked up the bug spray to defend herself from these things that don't look like bugs. Why did everyone keep calling them bugs?
Yeah, they don't
'Cause
look...
They've got like a jetpack that looks like wings. Like that's it.
Or are they actually wings? I think they're actually wings. I think they've actually got beetle wings.
Okay, but it's just like everyone's like, oh, these bugs, oh, I don't like bugs, and I'm like, they don't look like bugs, they look like freaking armored Ninja Turtles.
Gargoyles.
Yeah, yes, they look more like gargoyles. I don't know. The parademons looked cool. Like they genuinely did look cool. It was nice to get a proper look at them in this movie. And there's that brief shot of in the flashback of someone transforming into one after being slain in battle, which was quite creepy.
Yeah.
That entire sequence was such a lot of bollocks. Oh look, there's Zeus, and there's a bit where an axe. There's a bit where an axe hits Steppenwolf that is like the one that Ares is usually depicted.
Well, Ares is in it because David Thewlis is credited.
Is he?
Yeah.
So they've shot some stuff with him, and they're not actually giving him any close-up to make it significant.
Yeah, I guess. Either that or we didn't spot it amongst all the shit that was going on. Because, gee whiz, there was so much shit going on.
Oh, for Christ. But it's like in that, it's like the previous movie in the series, the same one, the one that was out the same year as this, made sure that we knew that Zeus and all that stuff was a really important focal point within, these movies.
Yeah.
And it's shot like they're just extras in a fight scene in that flashback.
Yep.
Like Zeus, they're not given any hero shots, any majesty. The voiceover doesn't coincide with how important their part of the fight is. The Atlanteans are just like... This film's just like, oh, by the way, Atlantis exists.
Yeah.
That's how it treats it. And it's like, what? No. Like, no. If you can... Right, here's the thing. Do you know, this movie... Oh, it should have left out Atlantis and all that stuff. Yeah, that should have been left out. Aquaman could have been in it. And you tease that there's more going on than just a fish man.
Rather than having a scene in it with characters who are not named, which raises more questions than it answers.
Yeah. You know how I said Batman v Superman suffered from having no establishing shots?
Yeah.
This movie was just establishing shots.
Do
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I noticed because we kept location hopping so much that in the end I was annoyed by establishing shots because I was like, just stay in one place for 10 minutes. Please, for the love of God. Just stay in one location. Oh my God. Speaking of things that were wasted in BVS that are wasted here, Amy Adams better be being paid like the highest fee because they are wasting her talent completely.
They just don't know what to do with her.
No, she's just there. Lois Lane is just there.
Yeah.
She also must know who Batman is now, I'm assuming, considering Alfred picked her up.
Yeah, one would suspect.
Yeah. And Diane Lane does her best as Martha Kent. She gets one particularly really nice moment, like after he's back and she comes back to Kansas and just gives him like a big hug. It's like, is it really you? But it was a scene where I was like, I would rather see that in a follow-up to this.
Yeah.
A Superman-centric follow-up to this, so that they can properly delve into the idea of a mother having gone through grief, suddenly finding out her son is back, instead of it just being a 20-second moment. Also, how quickly can people travel in this world? I know they set up Metropolis and Gotham are across the harbour from each other, but like you can't get from Metropolis to Smallville in half an hour. Like, I just... Superman fight. The fight with Superman. A lot of reviews kept saying the first scene he's in is really cool. And it's a cool Superman scene. I thought it was a fun scene, but it's not a cool Superman scene. Do people just want evil Superman now? Is that what people want?
Do you think they meant the very, very first scene of the movie? The phone interview?
No, I think they're referring to when he first comes back because it's quote unquote badass.
There's one bit in that scene that's really, really good. There's one moment.
It's the slow motion moment.
Yeah, it's when he
and not the Zack Snyder slow motion moment, guys. The moment in the story where it's slow motion for a reason other than to look cool.
As Flash is running past him, and he moves his eyes and sees Flash, and Flash sees that he sees him. That's great. That's brilliant. But that then
was really, very, very cool.
The rest of that
because the look
scene
on
is
Flash's face
boring.
is just like, oh my God. Because we don't know how long he's been the Flash, but he's obviously been doing this long enough to know no one is like him. And then suddenly, this person can see him when he's moving at top speed. But then they play Superman's theme during their punch-up, but it's like, what?
Yeah, it's really weird. It doesn't work.
I hated
Like,
the
so
themes.
much of this movie is a mess and
hated
it
the
doesn't
themes
work.
being used.
Yeah, didn't like them at all.
Even the Batman one, because it was undercut by the fact that Gordon was looking up at Batman on a gargoyle about 5-6 feet above where he was stood through some bits of paper on a washing line. Like, what was that shit? And then he jumps down in a way that looks like a gorilla, like leaping off of a platform, and already stood where he jumps is Wonder Woman and Flash. So it's like, why is Gordon looking up at the dude he sees every other week? When there's these two other people stood like 4 feet from him as well. Like, what? What is that? But they played the theme though, right? And
The thing
and then
is,
they kept playing that. The theme not only got replayed, it was woven into the score during the Batmobile stuff in the third act.
yeah.
Oh god, that was horrible.
My main problem with a lot of this stuff, that scene probably looked great when they originally shot it, but then when they went in post and turned all the colours right up,
They cranked the saturation.
it
up.
just looks
Yeah.
cheap. Like, and they've done
God.
that through so much of this movie that it just looks really, really cheap in places, and it's like they look like sets. They look like setty sets, setty-ass sets.
Setty sets.
Like, they look like theatre sets.
Yeah.
And, like, not to disparage the work that theatre scene builders do, but
No,
that
but like
stuff's
when you're on
built
camera,
for...
there's a certain level of like all-encompassing realism you need to achieve to sell people that they are actually in that room.
Yeah, that stuff's not built for film, and this stuff doesn't look like it was built for the amount of light that's in this movie. They were clearly shot very underlit and then turned right the fuck up. A lot of this stuff, it's just bad. It's really bad. Shall we talk briefly about the two stingers and then move on to emails?
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. The first stinger, I'm going to say it now. The mid-credits scene.
Yeah.
It was so close to being something that I actually really liked.
Yeah.
But the uncanny valley upper lip just kept pummeling my brain in.
It's just so distracting.
It's so distracting. And here's the thing. I'd be interested to ask somebody who didn't know about that what they thought of the movie.
Yeah.
Because I've seen at least one tweet where someone went, have they done something to Henry Cavill's face? Because it looks weird.
Yeah.
And I assume that's someone who, obviously just didn't know about the stuff. But I'd like to see more because we were obviously... We went in looking for it because we were like, we knew it had happened and we're curious.
We didn't have to look very hard.
That's the thing. We were curious as to how they got around it. It was like, it was more... When we went into the movie, it's more a case of, I wonder which shots they had to do it in.
It was like most of them. Most of Henry Cavill's stuff.
You leave the movie going, oh my god, half of his face wasn't real for most of this film. Like, what is going on? But like the scene itself was nice. Basically, just Flash as dead Superman. He said, like, right, come on, we'll have a race. I want to know who's fastest. Well, let's have a race. Like, I just want to find out. And Superman sort of treated it like, okay, you silly kid. All right, fair enough. And they make a daft little bet. But that final shot of them looks hilarious. Ezra Miller can't run.
He looks like he's skating.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he's running like a
No.
But no. I'm so glad I'm not alone in that. But not only that, the last freeze frame is him in a weird run pose and Cavill looking like he's having a shit.
How appropriate for this movie.
Oh my god, I was just so distracted. Yeah, did you like that? Did you like that bit? I thought it was alright.
I thought it was a neat little moment. Yeah, but yeah,
neat little nod to a pre-established sort of friendly rivalry in the comics.
Undercut by it being just fucking horrible looking.
That looked like it was on green screens as well. It was in the middle of a field on a path.
Yeah,
and it looked like it was on a green screen.
Yeah, because it probably was. They probably did it in a backlot in 5 minutes.
Oh,
and probably improv the whole thing.
Yeah, Christ alive. But that was the throwaway frivolous scene what about the post-credits, really, really important guys, please make sure you stick around scene? Would you care to explain to us what the fuck
tease
happened?
for a sequel that's never going to happen?
Oh god, the tease for a sequel that suggests a sudden escalation for one character for no reason.
Yeah.
Would you like to sort of describe what happens, just in case any people are listening who don't care about spoilers and who haven't seen the movie and just want to get a sense of it?
It opens in the same prison we see at the end of BVS where Lex Luthor is, and the cell's been evacuated, and Lex Luthor won't come out of his cell, and he turns around and it's not Lex Luthor!
It's a random cackling man with terrible eyebrows.
So, cut to a yacht somewhere.
Like a big-ass yacht.
I think they're implying it to be international waters, but it's like just off the coast of a city, so it can't be. I
thought that too.
And a speedboat pulling up to it, and off the speedboat gets Deathstroke!
In complete costume.
In full costume.
Looking kind of terrible.
Yeah. And
he's going to a meeting and he showed up in all of his armour. And
it's actual Lex Luthor is summoned him, and the real Lex Luthor's on the boat, and he's like, "Oh, you're great. Like, why don't you think it's time we had a league of our own?"
Few questions.
Yeah.
Why's Luthor kept his bald head?
Because
he was shaved. The way the film tried to be like, and this is why he's bald, was because they shaved him when he entered prison.
Because this was probably written to be like,
well, like minutes later.
Yeah,
even though it's several months later, because like they've been trying to get hold of the other guys for this amount of time. Superman's been dead a while.
Oh God, I don't know.
And oh God. So it's like, that implies that the prison shaves everyone's heads routinely then, except the other prisoners that were leaving weren't bald.
Considering we got the news that Joe Manganiello was Deathstroke from the Justice League shoot, I would imagine that this was originally part of a larger subplot.
Like there was another bit with Deathstroke. Yeah.
When this was 2 movies.
Yeah. Oh, agreed.
Or when it was a longer movie.
I'm happy for him that he has actually got the part, which means that he did some lovely deflection earlier this year when people were like, so hang on, you might not be involved in the Batman or whatever, like, are you involved in these movies now? And he was like, I'll be honest, I don't know, it's completely up in the air with those guys. I'm here if they need me, was basically what he said, knowing full well that, I totally shot a scene.
But also, doesn't that
I shot at least one scene.
Doesn't that hair and beard look a bit shit?
It looks awful. Do you know why? Because they didn't grey him, they just coloured it white.
Yeah, and
if it was grey, it'd look fine.
Almost as if, like the rest of this movie, it looks really cheap. But that's what he looks like in the comics, so we have to make him look like that. No, you don't. You don't.
So
you do. So you don't need to.
Is Lex? But here's the thing as well. They did it in a way where it's sort of like, as the audience, they're expecting you to know who he is.
Yeah.
The people who haven't read the books will have no idea who that is, so they'll be like,
"Who's
this metal Power Ranger Deadpool motherfucker that
you only know
Lex
who
Luthor's having a meeting with?"
If you already know who Deathstroke is.
Yeah, and even with me knowing who Deathstroke is, I'm like, so what? Luthor's going to hire him to try and take on an alien, an Amazon, like what?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's not. No. Like, it would make more. Do you know what would be more of an exciting tease? Genuinely.
What's that?
If the scene ended with like Luthor meeting with Deathstroke or someone and being like, "All right, so the hero, like these big heroes, they're all got together and they're all buddies and chummy," and I can't stand. I'm not standing for that. I'm not like two. I want 2 of them, at least 2 of them dead already.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, fight fire with fire. Why not start a league of our own? Have the door of the ship open up, like the back of the thing, into a meeting room, and sat around that table. You at least had, drums please.
Yeah.
You at least had.
Yeah.
Joker and Deadshot.
Yeah.
Because then I'd go, oh, okay. Do you know what I mean? Like, surprise cameos, here they are. Because then you'd be like, right, that's how you get my interest. Because if you're implying the next story for these characters is going to be a film where you chuck the Justice League and the Suicide Squad into a story, despite hating their individual movies, I'd be interested to see that premise. I'd wait for the trailer to find out if it's going to be any good. But if you were like, oh, look, these films are genuinely connected, and I'm hiring a shit ton of people who are good at killing people to help me try and kill these people, then I'd be like, okay, I bite. Let's see. But, yeah, like, no. Here's a guy you've not met before.
And we're not going to tell you who he is.
Yeah. And for those of you who know who he is, you know that he's not going to do this because he's on my side. He's going to do it because I'm going to pay him a lot of money. So
yeah.
It isn't revenge, so it doesn't matter. It's so
fucking
stupid.
Hell.
It's about a Deathstroke's riding in a freaking a motorboat to get to the yacht in his full bloody costume, and then when he gets there, Luthor's got like 2 bodyguards sat either side of the deck, and there's a lady like sat having a drink, and there's a lady in a bikini in a hot tub, and they're all stood statically. Like, they're purposely there. They've been like, right, you go there, you go there, you go there, you go there. Cool. And action.
If you know, but he's done that because this Lex Luthor is such a peacock that he probably has done that specifically to look cool.
That's probably why he's kept the bald head. Oh my god. Oh, do you know who I can't believe I'm saying this. I missed Jesse Eisenberg in this movie.
Why is that?
Because I wanted to at least see a villain who was interesting in some way. Like, he's terrible, but Steppenwolf was boring. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Steppenwolf
I would rather have had
Malekith
terrible
levels of boring.
Yeah, I would rather have had terrible instead of boring.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Especially because they imply that Luthor knew about some kind of oncoming plot, and that deleted scene in Batman v Superman or whatever shows like him communing with Steppenwolf.
I think he's like watching old historical things. I'm not sure.
It's so weird. I don't know. Oh god, I don't want there to be another film in this series solely because I don't want to have to go and see it.
Yeah.
Just if they're smart, they'll finish Shazam, and we'll hopefully have at least a good Shazam movie, if not a great one. And then they'll just make Wonder Woman sequels from now till the end of time.
That'd be nice. That'd
be great. Bring the other characters along for the ride if you want. Have them pop up. Great. There you go. Here they are, guys. Enjoy. Oh, God. Oh, Matt. Take my mind off Justice League, Matt.
I can't.
Why?
Because this email is about Justice League.
Oh, tits.
This comes in from Other Dave.
Everybody's dead, Other Dave.
And he says, hi, Big Damn Cast. So, Justice League was a film. Not a terrible film, but not a good one either. I don't know, I think it kind of was terrible. Full disclaimer, I've not seen any of the previous DCU films on account of all of them bar one getting extremely divisive receptions. Pardon me. So I may have been slightly underprepared going into this film, but I knew most of the basics. Superman dies at the end of BVS, Steve Trevor dies at the end of Wonder Woman, so I never felt that lost as to what was happening during the film, but it was boring. Okay, so when it was an actual Justice League film, when all the characters were assembled, it was, well, not good exactly, but at least tolerable. But it took so long to get them together, with pointless scenes of Cyborg saying he won't join, only to join in like the very next scene. What's the point? Why are you dragging it out for so long? But I think the movie's low point was when the League resurrected Superman and their following fight, and then the emotional scenes between him and Lois Lane. I'm not sure if I was supposed to find these scenes funny, but the rushed CGI backgrounds and terrible moustache cover-up effects were just so misjudged and treated with such sincerity I couldn't help but laugh. Oh, and why did Superman fight the Justice League when he first came back? Other than it's a set piece, because it never had any relevance to anything. It was just kind of there as a sequence that might as well happen since they had the resources to make it.
Other Dave, you don't understand. When you die, you lose something.
But then you get it back
information.
as soon as you see your ex.
A cornfield for half an hour.
which That kind of
As
sums
soon
up a
as
lot
you
of this
stand in
movie.
a cornfield for 30 minutes, you come back to normal. After
Ho-
kidnapping a woman.
Horny McVillain face was fine, I guess. He was functional enough as a big CGI thing for them to fight, but like most of this movie, it's been done before and better in the past few years, and it doesn't bring anywhere near enough new things to the table to justify its existence. It was mostly harmless, but utterly pointless.
Wow,
anyway,
that is probably that's a solid
Justice League
summary.
review.
Mostly harmless, but utterly pointless. That's brilliant.
Anyway, I have 2 questions for you. Sorry about the length of my email. That's perfectly fine. Number 1, my screening of Justice League was practically empty, and I saw it the day after release. Were your screenings that busy? And if not, what do you think has put people off? I saw it on opening night in a busy cinema in the Greater Manchester area, and it was about 3/4 full, and it was a Friday evening showing, so, I'd be interested to see if it's dropped off, but I don't want to go and see this movie again, so I don't really want to find out. I think
I saw it in I saw it in a mostly packed cinema, but again, sort of small screen, Saturday morning, family audiences. But I'll tell you this: as soon as the credits rolled, 95% of the screen left.
Oh yeah.
People didn't stick around; they were off. Which says 2 things: like, one, either they weren't aware that there was a bit more to watch. Which is fair enough.
That hasn't really been in these DC movies.
Which is fair enough. Because the movie doesn't do what like Marvel does, for example, where it gives you a visual stimuli to encourage you to stick around briefly.
Oh yeah,
Marvel
the
ones
animated
have
credit
those,
sequences, yeah.
Yeah, which are absolutely beautiful. And some of the best visual work for each of those movies is watching what those animators have done to craft that end section. This film's just like, it starts with like the unit director credits and things like that. And you're like, oh, like halfway through the credits, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it keeps going up. And there's that. So it's either because they didn't know there was more scenes to come, or because they just wanted to get out of there. Do you know what I mean? And there wasn't much excitement. I think there was one gag in the movie where people laughed a bit. I think it was something the Flash said at one point. And that was kind of it. So
yeah, I think there were a couple of laughs at some Flash moments in my screening, but nothing like it. It felt like most of it just fell flat. I was bored. I was so bored.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. The person behind me like let out a really dirty chuckle when Wonder Woman snapped Batman's arm back into place.
Okay, fair enough.
That was kind of it.
I don't know why they thought I was particularly dirty, but fair enough.
So why do you think people aren't going then? Like, what do you think that might be? Is it the reputation of the previous movies, or is it fatigue? Is it too soon after Thor Ragnarok? Maybe.
I think there's an awful lot of negative press surrounding this movie and this franchise, and the toxic reactions to BVS and Suicide Squad, both on the side of the critics slamming them and the people stepping up to defend movies that they have no stake in sort of toxic ways. I think there's just a cloud, there's a shadow hanging over this franchise now, and I don't know that Warner Brothers can shake that necessarily. Certainly not with this movie, because it's god awful.
Yeah. The smartest
two.
thing to do would be just make Wonder Woman movies, because people enjoyed that. They really dug it. Like, make a couple more of them, and then if you want, have another stab at some iteration of your DC characters, but just leave it. Like, Harry Potter's been and gone. You're carrying on with... Oh my God, even Fantastic Beasts has got a weird cloud over it now. Like, you see the reaction to the image coming out this week and the title and everything.
The Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yeah, a lot of people are changing it to The Crimes of Johnny Depp, and just like... It's just, oh God, like no one's looking forward to it. Like there's the hardcore who are like, oh my God, I can't wait, but everyone else is going, this just doesn't look like I would give a shit.
Yeah.
So I think Warners are at panic stations, and instead of retreating briefly and coming back with something really strong, they're just going to keep churning out like DC movies in the hopes that it'll work. And it's like, no. They're all playing catch up to something that didn't do it the way they all think it should be done.
Yeah.
And it's so odd. It's so odd.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
Second question is, the post-credits scene hinted at a Legion of Doom movie. I don't think he's hinted at that so much as like the fact that Legion of Doom will be a thing in a Justice League sequel. Do you think it will ever get made? And what if it does? What would you want / not want it to be like? I want it to be good, and I don't want it to be terrible, and I don't think it will ever get made.
Yeah, I mean, there's something there. There's something in there again, like a flash of a really good idea. We've not seen a superhero movie so far, really, that has been a team of supervillains versus a team of superheroes.
Yeah.
In a big live action way that spectacle wise looks fun. I'm trying to think if there's ever been anywhere it's a bit of a group thing, but not really, is there?
The closest you've come is the Batman sequels, where it was a duo of villains versus Batman and Robin.
Yeah, but that's still like two dudes in capes fighting two dudes in suits.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's the closest thing I can think of.
Yeah, I mean Civil War to a point, but obviously there's no villains like in the melee.
Yeah,
like if they just straight out went like, right, the next movie is going to have Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and Cyborg, like fighting Luthor, Deathstroke with a bunch of like him and Luthor with a bunch of like tech mechs or whatever, like Cheetah. Freaking, I don't know, Clayface and
Reverse Flash
and Reverse Flash, whatever. I'd be like, oh, that could be visually interesting if someone else directs it. I wonder what that could look like.
But it's not going to get made because this movie's going to fucking bomb.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh God. Cinema. La 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 la.
Yeah.
There's no end to that song because there's no end to the never-ending hell that is the decisions that are being made.
Well, Chris, let's put Justice League to bed and not speak of it again
until the end of year show, probably.
Let's not speak of it again,
unless some news comes out during the week about the box office that's interesting that we bring up next time.
Let's not speak of it again.
When do you think Ben Affleck's going to quit?
Imminent. Apparently they're eyeing Jake Gyllenhaal, but maybe we'll see if anything that comes of that.
Oh God! Oh God!
You too could have a Jake Gyllenhaal Batman.
Just take me to the alternate universe where John Hamm's Batman and it's all camp and brilliant. Please.
Yeah, all right. I'd love to do that. Quick, let's hop in my John Hamm time machine.
Oh, cool.
And we'll go to that strange dimension.
Your John Hamm specific time machine.
My John Hamm time machine, which searches out the best of all possible Hamm worlds. But
brilliant.
As Chris and I embark on our wonderful and strange Hamm voyage, please remember that, as always, you can reach us at Big Damn Cast on Twitter. BigDamnContact@gmail.com. Please send us well wishes and messages while we explore the many dimensions of the wonders of John Hamm. In this world, John Hamm was Batman. In this world, John Hamm was Superman. In this world, John Hamm was Batman and Superman.
And a cameo as Wonder Woman, played by John Hamm. I want to live there.
Christina Hendricks.
Oh, Hawk Girl. And not just because of the red hair. I just think she can do Flighty quite well.
Big Barda.
Intended. No. All right, fair enough.
Hey, if the new gods are in the DCEU now, does that mean we're getting Mr. Terrific? Not Mr. Terrific, Mr. Miracle?
Probably not, I imagine.
The escape artist whose real name is Scott Free.
Oh, God. No. Well, oh, God. Separate from the DCEU, give me that movie. I'll be happy.
New gods, new gods, new gods.
Oh, God. At what point do you think we're going to discover that there's a secret fourth mother box in Kandark?
Remember, Chris. For Dark Knight.